You're right, Gary. And there's also been some pictures on Twitter of a funnel cloud spotted in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan today. So a lot of convective weather occurring. We've been following a few thunderstorm cells that have been pushing up from the United States. No watches or warnings at this point, but around Assiniboia, certainly it's wet for you. West of Cornac, we are seeing a severe thunderstorm cell popping up there. And this is the vicinity really in the south, hugging the border where those cells are moving through. So as we take a zoomed in look, notice just west of Cornac, we see that active weather. Val-Marie clearing out at this point, but swift current, you could be into some heavy downpours within the next half an hour. Through today, this has been the risk isolated severe marked off where we've written it. And this will be the amount of rain we have into Saturday morning. Now note the darker green will see a lot more, 20 to 40 millimeters. And Environment Canada has already issued a special weather statement for southern Manitoba, including Winnipeg and Brandon, for the potential of unsettled weather for tomorrow, for your Saturday, for your Sunday. So the next couple of days will be a little hectic. For Regina, Friday, 22 degrees. We're going to see a risk of thunderstorms. Coming up, we'll talk about, well, Gary, we have our eye on southern Saskatchewan and southern Manitoba for this evening. No watches or warnings for Saskatchewan, but as you can see on the radar, there's a little bit going on. Assiniboia certainly seeing some showers at this point. We've got Val-Marie out of the wet weather right now, but west of Cornac, I'd be concerned about that area seeing heavy downpours, large size hail, and potentially some strong winds too. So today, this has been the risk zone. We've even included areas like Winnipeg into southern Manitoba because there is also a special weather statement in place for you, including Brandon, including Winnipeg, for unsettled weather today, tomorrow, and the next day. So notice the dark green. That's where we're going to see the most rainfall, and those amounts could go up with thunderstorms. Let's take you next to this. This is 6 a.m. It reopened today, but in the downtown core, it was about 30 millimeters of rain. The most we saw was just above the 40 millimeter mark for the city. Right now, the radar looking very different, very quiet. Those thunderstorms last night just kept going. So a look at the numbers. Downtown Toronto, 34 to be exact. Markham, 17 millimeters of rain. Coming up, we're going to have more details on the active weather we're seeing in southern Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Well, Gary, I would say that it would be centered around southern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba as well. Now, there are no watches in Saskatchewan or warnings for that matter, but in southern Manitoba, we do have a special weather statement for the potential of active weather for the next couple of days. But let's focus on what's going on right now. You can see Val-Marie out of the wet weather at this point. Assiniboia, it's certainly wet. And west of Cornac, just concerned about that cell potentially bringing some heavy downpours, some hail. And we have another cell that's moving up from the U.S. just close to the border. So between Val-Marie and Cornac, we are going to be seeing some active weather in the next half an hour or so. So just be wary of that. Today, this has been the risk for thunderstorms spilling over into Manitoba. And Manitoba is going to be where we shift our attention to tomorrow. The south will be seeing quite a bit of rain, 20 to 40 millimeters in the dark green, but note locally higher amounts in thunderstorms. For Regina, 22 degrees tomorrow, thunderstorms and unsettled weather as we roll into this weekend, Tuesday. Not the best forecast for fireworks. Looks like we'll see some showers. Now for the city of Toronto today, very different story compared to last night. We saw very heavy downpours, caused localized flooding, and it forced a section of the DVP to be closed overnight until this morning at 6 a.m. It reopened. We had the highest amount in the city center in the east end, 52 millimeters of rain. Downtown core got 34 millimeters in a very short period of time. Coming up, more. Well, Gary, we're going to really focus on extreme southern Saskatchewan at this point. And while there are no watches or warnings for Saskatchewan, we're certainly seeing some strong cells moving up from the United States. Now, generally speaking, as they're crossing into Canada, they're losing quite a bit of steam. But Cornac, we're seeing rain showers. West of Cornac, if you can pick it up on your TV screen, there's a big red blob, and that's an indication of a little bit of hail, heavy downpours, and you can see some strong winds. Val-Marie out of the rain at this point, but there's a few more cells bubbling up. So so wouldn't be surprised if that area starts to see rain showers and thunderstorms again within the next hour or so. Today, this has been the risk of thunderstorms, so isolated severe where we've written it. And into Manitoba, we have a special weather statement in place for you, including the city of Winnipeg, Brandon, many other areas for unsettled weather for the next couple of days. So just have the umbrella on hand. It's going to be touch and go. We'll have 20 to 40 millimeters in the dark green, but with thunderstorms, much higher amounts. Let's take you now to the city of Toronto. And Gary, today looks very different compared to last night.
Produce in very localized areas, as Nicole, you know very well. Some nasty situations, as you see here.
That's right, and we had a lot of localized flooding. There was a flood watch in place last night in the city of Toronto that turned into a warning very quickly, but it has since been dropped. DVP was closed last night. It's since reopened this morning. So just a couple of hours there where things were a little bit hectic. This dam, which is in the Don River watershed, received 52 millimeters of rain, the most. Downtown Toronto received 34 millimeters in a very short period of time, but right now pretty quiet on the radar. Coming up, we'll have more details. Well, Gary, we know there's a lot of instability in the atmosphere. Today, there was a report of a funnel cloud. People were tweeting pictures of it earlier. So that's just an indication that there's a little bit going on in the atmosphere. And we've certainly seen some thunderstorm cells popping up. No watches or warnings in Saskatchewan, though. I want to mention that off the bat. But as we take a look here at the zoomed in shot right now, Val-Marie out of the rain, but just west of Cornac, so Rock Glen, we have a cell moving into that vicinity, and it's showing the potential for some strong winds and some heavy downpours and hail too. Moose Jaw, rain right now, swift current too. So definitely it's going to be another night with some lightning strikes and isolated severe storms staying in the south, really close to the border. As for Manitoba, we'll have our eye on you tomorrow. And that's because Environment Canada has issued a special weather statement for unsettled weather, not only Friday, but for Saturday and Sunday too. Note the darker green, 20 to 40 millimeters. If you see thunderstorms, that amount can go up. So if you're in southern Manitoba for the next few days, just have an umbrella on hand and keep it here on the Weather Network so you can see if any warnings do fire up in your specific neighborhood. Regina, Friday, 22 degrees, thunderstorms. Saturday, we'll see thunderstorms again, and it doesn't really clear out until we head to your Tuesday. Then it's a clearing trend, and Wednesday will be 24 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Coming up, we'll talk about these rainfall totals that we picked up last night in the city of Toronto. Came down very quickly. What does the weekend look like? We'll explain. All right, Gary. Well, as we look at yesterday, there was a full closure of the DVP on both sides in a section, and that's because of the heavy downpours that came down. It was reopened this morning at 6 a.m. Downtown Toronto, 34 millimeters, but for the Don watershed, we did see up to 52 millimeters of rain. A different night tonight, and heading into the weekend, we will talk about your long weekend forecast for holiday Monday and how much rain you'll pick up.
Visit our new and improved